What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be ranking every single SMG in Battlefield 6 based on their TTK. This is going to be a very interesting comparison in my opinion, and the video is going to be having some surprises every now and then because the ranking is just a bit hot. People love some weapons, and those weapons don't really have good TTKs when it comes to numbers, you know. I've done the same video for assault rifles and for carbines, LMGs, DMRs, and other weapon categories. Those videos coming out, so if you want to see the previous video, there's a link down in the description. It will take you straight to a playlist and you can see all the videos there. And if you want to see the same ranking for other weapon categories, do make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel because those videos are coming soon. Now, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump straight to the video. Just keep in mind that I am actually comparing all these weapons in ranges below 35 meters because we're talking about SMGs here. And most of the times when you play SMGs, you're going to be engaging in a range basically less than 40 or 35 meters. So I just chose 35 meters and I'm sticking to that for TTK. I actually done some math here and got some numbers out, and it actually makes sense for SMGs to be compared in ranges below 35 meters. So at number 8, we've got the UMG-40 or the infamous UMP-45. This weapon has the slowest TTK among all of the SMGs. The TTK on this thing is 403 milliseconds. However, there are some benefits to this weapon as well. So just because it has a slow TTK doesn't mean it's a trash weapon, okay? First of all, this thing is a laser beam. And most of the times people can use this as an assault rifle in bigger maps, and it works even better than most of the assault rifles when it comes to long range shooting because it basically has zero recoil. This weapon is also one of the most accurate SMGs out there, and combined with that recoil control, it's going to give you pinpoint accuracy. However, you should keep in mind that this weapon will suck in close range simply because of that slow fire rate. The fire rate is also the lowest among all the SMGs, which is 635 rounds per minute. So based on your playstyle, if you are one of those players who tends to just gun and run, this is not your weapon. But if you want mid to long range gunfights, this weapon might be your go-to option. At number 7, we've got the SL9. This is a meta weapon. We don't have a model in real life. However, in Battlefield 6, this is the most accurate SMG out there. This means you get the least amount of spread, aka bloom, possible. And if I want to explain the SL9 to you, it is a better, more accurate, more controllable version of the UMP-45. So if you like UMP-45 and you want to slightly upgrade it, in my opinion, the SL9 has to be your go-to option. The TTK on this thing is 378.71 milliseconds, which is just a bit better than the UMP-45. It is also one of the easiest weapons to control, basically a laser beam. I would say even better than the UMP-45. However, it has the second slowest fire rate in the SMG category, which is 675 RPM, just a little bit faster than the UMP-45. And again, it sucks in close range. So if you want to use this weapon in close range, you're going to be losing a lot of gunfights to better SMGs. So just be aware of that, okay? At number 6, we've got the USG-90 or the infamous P90. This weapon's been all over Battlefield as long as I can remember, honestly. The TTK on this thing is 350.85, so it is kind of an upgrade to SL9 and UMP-45 when it comes to TTK. The most important thing about this weapon is that it holds 50 rounds per mag by default, so you're not paying any extra points because of this magazine. And when it comes to rounds per mag, this is by far the best SMG out there because you're not going to spend any points on this. However, this weapon is also one of the least accurate SMGs out there, but to compensate for that, you have 900 RPM of rate of fire and you also have 50 rounds per mag, so you basically compensate for that lack of accuracy. And one thing to keep in mind as well, this weapon has a lower damage model compared to the baseline for SMGs. Most of the SMGs deal 25 damage as their base damage, but the P90 actually deals 20. So it's good at close range. It sucks at mid to long range because the weapon recoil control is also just a little bit off compared to other SMGs. At number 5, we have a surprise here, and it's the PW5A3, aka MP5. The TTK on this thing is 337 milliseconds, and why is this a surprise? Because you see a lot of people just playing this thing, and it's a great all-round SMG, everyday use, because it's a middle ground between recoil control, fire rate, and TTK. It's right there in the middle, and that's why a lot of people play it. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people believe that this weapon's TTK is fast, but in reality, it's just not. And when it comes to TTK, you have a lot of better options. However, it's a good weapon in range and a good weapon at close range. Fire rate and hip fire accuracy actually make it viable in close range as well. But again, even in medium range, this weapon shines. because of that recoil control that it has. I would say basically almost all of the SMGs are laser beams, but the MP5 is no slouch. When it comes to recoil control, this is one of the best. At number 4, we've got the PW7A2, which is also known as the MP7. This weapon has the lowest base damage in the entire SMG category. However, this weapon has a lot of positive points that will perfectly compensate for that, and all those positive points make it have a TTK of 317.85 milliseconds, which is 20 milliseconds faster than the MP7 and a lot faster than the previous weapons. The stats in the game also mention that this weapon has the easiest control in the entire category, meaning that your recoil is basically non-existent. However, in my opinion and based on my experience, that's just not the case. There are weapons that are far easier to control compared to the MP7. However, that doesn't mean that the MP7 has a lot of recoil. For that fire rate, which is more than 900 RPM, the recoil control is something you can basically forget about. And this is one of the SMGs that will actually shred people in close range. However, in medium to long range, because of that low damage model, this thing might actually hold you back. So just keep that in mind. Also, this weapon has the fastest tactical reload among all the SMGs. So one more thing to just compensate for that lack of damage, you will be able to reload as fast as possible and get back into gunfights. And this weapon is also underrated as Duck because you don't see a lot of people actually playing it. And I believe it deserves just a little bit more love. At number 3, we've got the SGX, which is also called MPX in real life. The TTK on this thing is 316.14 milliseconds. This thing is a laser beam and it has standard damage model. However, the fire rate of this thing is 830 rounds per minute. So imagine you have a laser beam and you can actually fire with that rate of fire. So what you get is the third fastest killing SMG in the game. And I would say probably this weapon is the best SMG for everyday play, even compared to the MP5, because the recoil control is on point, your TTK is way faster, you have a higher rate of fire, and you're going to come out better than the MP5 even in close range. So in my opinion, if you want to stick to an SMG to have a good time playing with it in close range and even in medium range, in my opinion, the SGX should be your go-to option. It's also versatile in both CQB and in range, so you can go ahead and customize the weapon as you wish. At number 2, we finally have the KV9, also known as the Chris Vector. The TTK on this thing is 251.28 milliseconds. This is a straight upgrade even compared to the SGX. So we're basically going into a whole different league here. This thing shreds in close range, and the fire rate is the highest fire rate among all the SMGs, 1080 rounds per minute. That is plus 1000 rounds per minute, and for that fire rate, the recoil on this thing is actually controllable. It's not like something you can't control. It's not all over the place. Truth be told, the recoil is pretty much manageable. However, you have limited rounds per mag, but you can upgrade that and make the weapon able to kill 2 to 3 people with 1 mag. But just keep in mind that it will go empty as soon as you blink, because this thing has a ridiculous fire rate. This weapon is also the least accurate SMG by in-game stats, but in my opinion, the accuracy is not a problem on this thing. It has never been a problem because when it comes to it, this weapon is made for extreme close ranges. And in those ranges, you don't really need accuracy that much. At least you don't really need ADS accuracy that much, okay? But in terms of hipfire accuracy, this thing will do the job, so don't worry about that. And finally, at number 1, we have the SCW-10, also known as the APC-10. The TTK on this thing is 250.57 milliseconds. So the TTK gap between the SCW-10 and the KV-9 is less than 1 millisecond, okay? Less than 1 milliseconds is basically nothing. So you can basically consider the KV-9 and the SCW-10 the exact same thing. However, there is something you should know about this. The KV-9 can actually be a better weapon in close range because of the fire rate, but the SCW-10 can hit targets at longer ranges compared to the KV-9, ranges that the KV-9 can't even reach. So truth be told, the SCW-10 actually deserves to be here at the first place. This thing also has the best damage model among all the SMGs, and under 10 meters, it's basically a 3-shot kill, which is just ridiculous, honestly. For an SMG, this is just unbelievable. And between 10 to 20 meters, it's a 4-shot body kill, okay? So this thing is no joke. it basically kills you in a blink of an eye. So every single time that you see someone killing you with like ridiculous speeds, be sure that they're using the SCW-10. This is just ridiculous. And this is an absolute beast in CQB. First place, well deserved. So there you have it, guys. All Battlefield 6 SMGs ranked based on their TTK. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful, somewhat informative. Do make sure to go down in the comment section, let me know about what SMGs you like, and let me know about the SMGs you actually prefer to play, your all-day SMG, and the SMG that you actually prefer to play with when it comes to CQB maps. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful. And until next time, guys, stay cool.